the start line. On the
well, Jens Peter Herald there, and Steve Ovett, who's travelled down with his training partner Steve Binns from the Scottish borders. Steve Binns will be running later on today. And we were delighted when Steve rang up and said he'd like to run. Two along from him there in the white vest, Rob Denmark, an up-and-coming youngster. But Steve looks happy, but that's usually a little bit of nervous anticipation. And there is a good field here. Tony Morell in the yellow vest just off the start line there. Tom Hanlon in the white vest, number 22. And right next to him, number 23, Andy Geddes, who's at Loughborough Colleges. And there, number 7, Jens Peter Herald.
So, away we go then in this 3,000 metres international event. 2 laps plus of running from the finish.
Well, Tom Hanlon and Steve Ovett right alongside him. Very interesting to see Steve Ovett here. He's done everything in the sport, and one wonders why he keeps going at this level. But Christina, you probably have some thoughts on that.
Yes, Steve just loves to take part. He loves the social side of athletics and meeting everybody, and he still likes to compete. Even, he says, when he's not at his very top form, he still really enjoys to compete. Now up there in front in the blue vest is Steve Crabb from Enfield, who's been one of our top middle distance runners for many years now.
Well, after she finishes her stint here, Christina's going to be running this course as well in the women's 3,000 metres, and she'll obviously be watching how they participate up the hills and on the underfoot going. We're all surprised after the weather we've had, the rain that we've had here, that the course is really quite firm. And you can see they're travelling quite quickly. Steve Crabb, Tom Hanlon right alongside him, Simon Fielding from Bingley Harriers, number 6 alongside the two of them, and then Steve Ovett just behind, and alongside him Jens Peter Herald. Well, I talked to Jens Peter Herald last night and his coach Bernd Diesner, who was a great 5,000 metre runner in his time, and he talked about the admiration that the East German athletes had for the British distance runners. And I said to him, what kind of shape is he in for this race? And he said, well, I don't think he's going to be as good as the British runners because they're good all the year round, and we just don't understand how they can be so good. Right alongside Jens Peter Herald there is Peter Elliott in the black vest. Everyone was talking about Herald there wearing the new Germany vest because he now represents Germany, but we talked to him about that last night, and you know what, they haven't got a vest ready. There's no German vest yet.
Right, well, I must admit it's unusual to see them not in the blue colours that we were so used to. But this is a bit of a tough part of the course. You come up a little steep hill, and it doesn't look like much, but it just breaks your rhythm, and I think on the second lap it could be a bit of a decider.
Well, Tom Hanlon there, he's running confidently, he's quite happy in the lead. He doesn't seem to be too bothered about the quality of the field that's behind him. And Tom is one of our top steeplechasers. He ran very well in the European Championship in the steeplechase, where he finished 6th. And if it hadn't been for Mark Rowland's excellent run in 2nd place in that race, I think Tom would have got a lot of attention. But I think he's the one for the future. He's only a youngster comparatively for steeplechase, in steeplechase terms, and he's a confident runner too. Just behind him, number 30, Nick O'Brien from Stretford, who's been running well on the roads for his club Stretford. And there's Steve Ovett in 3rd place, moving up on the outside. Well, we knew that Steve must be in decent shape, otherwise he wouldn't come, because he knew this event would be seen by everyone, and the results of it will be appraised by everyone. And obviously, since Steve Binns has joined him up in Annan, where they live, up near Lockerbie in Scotland, then it's obviously benefited the both of them. And Steve Ovett leading in a 3,000 metres cross-country race. I'm delighted to see it.
Yeah, it's lovely. I always like, because I'm obviously getting on a bit now, to see the mature athletes doing well. But it's great for the youngsters to see somebody like him taking part and to have him to aim for and to try and do better. And it's great to see Steve pushing on in front. I think we always were used to him being a sitter with that incredible kick he used to have. But here he is pushing it on and making all the others have to chase after him.
Well, they certainly know he's been here. Tom Hanlon in 2nd place. Peter Elliott moving up on his shoulder in 3rd. And right next to them, well, right next to Peter Elliott is Tom Hanlon. Look at Steve Ovett. He's going to get ready for that hill, and he's going to climb it quite well. He's running pretty well there. Tom Hanlon in 2nd place, Peter Elliott moving up alongside him, and Steve Crabb is in 4th place. And these 4 breaking clear of John Hartigan of Tipton Harriers. Well, Ovett's stretching them out, and they know he's running for real.
No way Ovett will accept the fact that Elliott's going to come sailing past. He'll have to work 3 into the way to take his race today. Well, it's Elliott and Ovett now.
Well, Jens Peter Herald did tell us that he didn't expect to be able to compete at this level with the British middle distance runners in the winter, because I think their training patterns go off their competition base and build their training. Works for them, but this is what works for British distance runners. A wintry day in Durham, Steve Ovett, Peter Elliott, Steve Crabb and Tom Hanlon clear of the field.
Now this is where it really starts to tell, because obviously they've done the first lap and there's a strong wind out there, so somebody's going to have to push on against the wind. And I think the next couple of two little hills would show if anybody wants to make a break. But Peter looks very, very relaxed there. It's incredible how he can adapt from track to cross country to indoors. He's just a very good all-round athlete and can be world-class at any distance or any event.
Well, there are some good athletes down the field being left in their wake. You know, Tony Morell, Jens Peter Herold, and then Peter Elliott now stretching the pace. And Steve Crabb running well, glanced over his shoulder. He'll be happy to see that he's got a few yards on Steve Ovett, and Tom Hanlon's going to have to work now to close that gap. But the four of them are clear, and they've run well. Steve Ovett just has to hang on to that fourth place, and everyone will be pleased if he can do that. Tom Hanlon says that's enough of this, and is cleared out from Ovett, and they're climbing the hill, and it's Peter Elliott drifts round to the left. Steve Crabb keep looking over his shoulder to see where the challenge is. Well, I think you should look to the left of him, because that's where the challenge is. Peter Elliott, Tom Hanlon, Steve Ovett and John Hartigan. Look at Elliott driving up that hill. He does look good when he's running well, doesn't he, Christina?
Yes, he's a lovely looking runner. He just looks so smooth. He makes it look so easy. I'm sure it's not as easy as he makes it look. But it's great to see Steve Crabb there pushing him hard, because he's had a lot of unfortunate luck recently. He's been ill, he fell over in a couple of the trial races. And it's always nice to see somebody who can come back after all those disappointments. And it's great to see him pushing Peter, because I think it's really going to make Peter have to work.
Well, you can see the wind catching them because they're on the top level now. They're about 800 meters to go, and Peter Elliott's beginning to drive, and Steve Crabb, I'm sure, is losing a little concentration looking over his shoulder. He needn't do that. The two of them are well clear of Tom Hanlon and Steve Ovett. And look at Elliott around that corner. He knows he's just got to come along here, drop onto the lower level, and he'll have about 600 meters to run, and that's his finishing drive. He usually drives over 400 to 600 meters, and we've seen him on the track. We saw him here last year where he took on Steve Cram and beat him. We know he's in good shape. He said he was in good shape. He took it easy over Christmas and didn't partake of too much liquid intake or even food either. But he's here to run seriously, and he is running seriously down the hill there. That just jars you a little. Along the level, and Steve Crabb. Now, Steve Crabb just needs to dig in there and hang on. He's running a really good race. This will boost his confidence tremendously, but I'm sure he should start thinking about trying to win this race, because Peter Elliott is convinced he's going to win, and there you can see the weaknesses. Steve Crabb glances over his shoulder. He's in second place. Maybe he's going to settle for second, but against this man there's a lot of people going to have to settle for second.
Yes, this is a very good finish, and actually Peter hasn't had many races, so if Steve can just stay there, then the pressure towards the end, it really might tell, because often you can be quite fit in training, but if you haven't raced, it makes all the difference. So here they come now, neck and neck round the last corner. This is terrific.
Well, Peter Elliott, 250 meters to go, and they come onto the finishing straight alongside the river, and Elliott is pushing on, and Steve Crabb's running extremely well. Now, Steve Crabb just got to hang on there. He's got a good finish, but we've seen Elliott, whether he's as sharp as he normally is in the summer. They come round the finishing bend there with just over 200 meters to go, and there again, Steve Crabb, you can sense that he's settling for second by looking over his shoulder. There's no danger behind, but Elliott, he wants to be first. He's a winner. He only likes to win these days. He doesn't like to run in races where he can't win, and there's Steve Crabb suffering on the end of Elliott's finishing drive, and Peter Elliott looking over his shoulder too. Now here comes Peter Elliott. He started the year back in January with the Auckland Commonwealth Games, where he won his first major title of 1500 meters, and this is a great way for Peter to finish 1990, which has been his best year ever. Peter Elliott, the Commonwealth champion, comes home once again to win the County Durham International Cross Country. A good race in second place by Steve Crabb and Steve Ovett, and a fast finishing Tom Hanlon coming up behind Ovett, but good run by Steve Ovett in third, Tom Hanlon fourth, Rob Denmark fifth, and John Mayock, Peter Elliott's training partner, in sixth place. Tony Morell, and then Jens Peter Herold just coming up the finishing straight. Well, he found the British distance runners a little bit too strong for him today, but let's see what he does in Tokyo in the World Championships. Well, we just got the time there for 3,000 meters, 8:31. Well, a good race there. In first place, Peter Elliott. In second place, Steve Crabb, who ran really well, and everyone's delighted to see Steve Ovett from Annandale district these days in third place.